In the world of business and in the game of sports, the film doesn't lie, and the scoreboard doesn't either.
Jimmy?
Brad, 2 or 3 things I'm going to be looking for from the baseline position. Kind of a different view of this game live for 2 or 3 minutes. First of all, as you mentioned, Kentucky gets 44% of their misses on the year. One of the reasons, it's a non-negotiable from day one. They go after rebounds with 2 hands. I'm going to keep an eye on, is Kentucky getting boards with 2 hands? The second thing, as Texas A&M comes back towards us this direction, do they get 10 feet in the paint like Billy Kennedy talked about today? They aren't going to the offensive glass. Texas A&M's not. They're retreating to defense and building out from the paint out.
If you listened to your employees' sales calls or customer service calls today, what do you think you would hear? What do you think you would hear when the chatter of the office dies down? What do you think you would hear if you listened to the customer service calls of your employees? Now, what if you watched the video footage? Maybe you installed the Nest.com cameras and you could watch the video footage of your employees. Do you think they're being super productive when you're only there or when you're not there? Well, ESPN's very own Jimmy Dykes believes that the film doesn't lie and the numbers don't either. And on today's show, he shares why self-awareness, watching video footage of yourself and your team, will help you to raise the level of excellence within your organization, and why it is vitally important for you to know what your team is actually doing versus what they say they're doing. Again, on today's show, Jimmy Dykes breaks down that the film doesn't lie and the numbers don't lie either. If you've been pushing back about the idea of call recording or video cameras in your retail store or your office, or installing GPS trackers on your employee vehicles, or installing keystroke recorders on your employees' computers so you can know what they're actually doing at the workplace, this is the show that you need to hear, because the truth will set you free.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrive Time Show.
3, 2, 1, here we go!
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yes, 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 and yes. Thrive Nation, this has been an incredible week. We've interviewed the founder, the co-founder of Netflix, the co-founder of Square, and now we've got the man, the myth, the legend, ESPN's very own Jimmy Dykes. How are you, sir?
Man, I'm doing great. I really appreciate you having me on. Tulsa's dear to my heart, because that's where I was born. So it's always good to talk to somebody from Oklahoma.
Well, Jimmy, your new book, The Film Doesn't Lie and the Numbers Don't Lie Either, really hits home for me, because all the listeners to this show know that for all the business owners out there, I strongly advocate, and I won't stop advocating, putting up cameras in your business so you know what's going on, recording calls for quality assurance. Tell us what's inside this new book, The Film Doesn't Lie and the Numbers Don't Lie Either.
Yeah, it's, the film doesn't lie. In my world, in college athletics, coaches live by that motto when they watch film with their team. After a win, after a loss, after a practice, that's when you get a true reflection of who you are as a player, who you are as a team. What areas do you need to improve on? Where are we doing well? What do we need to keep doing? And it's all right there on that film. And you can think you're one thing, and then you watch yourself on a film and realize, I'm really not what I thought I was as a player or as a team. So I take that analogy from the sports world, and over my 25 years now with ESPN and conversations with Hall of Fame coaches like John Calipari and Mike Krzyzewski and Gus Malzahn, the head football coach at Auburn, I take the reader into different topics that I think are important to all of us, that we all deal with, struggle with, need to be held accountable in, evaluate ourselves on. And I think this book will really create a space in our heart for reflection in some key areas, and where I think ultimately change begins. And I really challenge the readers to go at that book with an open heart and in pursuit of an authentic God who I know loves us, is able to have create great change in our heart in any area if we open ourselves up to him.
You know, Jimmy, it sounds like your book at its core is about self-awareness and trying to figure out, where we are versus where we want to be. Trying to bridge that gap, sometimes we call cognitive dissonance, where our values don't align with our daily action steps. And the guy that you played basketball for in college, Eddie Sutton, is a legendary coach and a very good personal friend of mine. What was it like playing for a guy like Coach Sutton when you had to look at yourself on the film? I mean, how did he break down film?
Yeah, he was a tough teacher, and those film sessions and evaluations, going through my book, those can be some tough times, but that's the only way you grow, is to be real with yourself, transparent with yourself, truthful with yourself. And Coach Sutton was always that in film sessions in the right way. It was never a beat down session. It was this is where we are negligent, and this is where we need to get better. And he was a tremendous coach, very deserving to be in the Hall of Fame, and hopefully we'll be there the next time around. And but on our practice shorts at Arkansas, when I was with him, when I was coaching at Kentucky, Oklahoma State, were the words dedication, discipline, and defense. And he stood for those three things as well as anyone I've been around. And those first two words, dedication and discipline, I just think are should be common threads. They are with the great ones that I'm around. And I'm talking about great coaches, great leaders, great people.
Yeah,
that are just common folks out there just doing life the right way. That dedication to who they are and the discipline to stay between the barriers that God has for them in their life. I love those kind of people, and certainly Coach Sutton stood for those things on the basketball court.
Do you recall a time when watching game film that you caught yourself and thought, what am I doing here? Or maybe metaphorically speaking, looking at your life and going, what am I doing here? Do you have a moment where you kind of, from a self-deprecating perspective, can say, oh, man, I was off. I was not doing what I thought I was doing?
Well, when I started writing the book, and you start writing on chapters on, do you have unforgiveness in your heart, the power of your spoken words, non-negotiables in my life, how am I doing in terms of guarding my heart and making sure that bitterness and envy and jealousy and greed aren't growing. When you're the writer of those chapters, then it did me to go even deeper in my own evaluation of myself. And it was a real growing process for me. It was a real learning process for me. It challenged me greatly as a writer, writing the book, and I think it will challenge our readers as well. I think it's a great tool for anyone out there through all walks of life. Whether you're a business owner or a single parent, a mom, whoever it is, I think there's terrific life lessons in this book that you can apply to all areas, but it's all geared towards our heart in align with God's best for us, understanding who He is, how much He loves us, all those things, and how that should play out in our day-to-day walk.
Two final questions for you. In your book, you talk about how film sessions are the lifeblood of any successful sports team. We talk about on the show all the time how watching the film of what your customer service reps are saying to customers is important. We're actually listening to the quality assurance of the phone calls, the recorded phone calls for your customer service center is super important. Why is it a recipe for disaster to never take the time to look at the actual numbers or to watch the actual game film?
Well, I think if you go about life like that, or your business like that, or coaching a team like that, your path is driven by the wind and the waves, and however society's pulling you, and you lack intent, you lack purpose in your life, you lack purpose in your daily plan. And I just don't think you grow. I think you get stagnant and you just go along with the normal flow, whatever that is. And I don't think the normal flow is the best way to go through life. It's not the best way to grow. And this is not a common read. It's an uncommon read in terms of really challenging people to pause and reflect and get one-on-one with God and really evaluate where am I in this area of my life. And I think if you don't take the time to do that on a regular basis, certainly at some point, a time in your life, I think you just get drawn down. Just the current of where life will take you. And I just don't think that's always best. I think it's best to have your own barriers and your own standards and your own beliefs dictating where you go in your life, as opposed to outside influences just dragging you wherever that may be.
You mentioned non-negotiables. My final question is about non-negotiables. In what area of your life, what is an example of a non-negotiable in the life of Jimmy Dykes?
I never leave the house in the morning without praying with my wife and daughter. And I started that probably 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's changed our family. It's changed our family dynamic. It's changed our one-on-one relationship with the Lord. It's changed how we go about our day. It's changed our perspective. I think it's changed me as a leader in the eyes of my wife and my daughter to know that this is a non-negotiable with me, that we're going to put Lord Jesus Christ in the proper perspective on our life, and we're going to back it up with our actions. And our film is going to show that every morning that's what we do. I left my house this morning at 6:30 to catch a flight to go to a college basketball game, but before I left, I made sure our daughter was up. We said a prayer, huddled up, said a prayer, and off we went. So that's the first non-negotiable that comes to my mind, but it's also one that's had tremendous impact on me as a dad, as a husband, as I go about my day, just setting my heart, setting my tone in my life on the right thing to begin the day.
Jimmy, I don't know if you've watched the game film recently of you doing some commentating there on ESPN, but you're looking good. Are you on a fish oil and kale only diet? What's your tip?
I eat pretty healthy. I stay away from fast foods. I stay away from bread. I drink a ton of water. I exercise every day. That's probably another non-negotiable with me.
Yeah.
In terms of trying to take care of my body the best I can. But, you got to work at it like everything else. But it's important to me when I'm on the road as much as I am. If I'm not really disciplined and intentional about what I'm eating and finding time to work out, man, it shows up over a 4 or 5 month grind like I'm on in the college basketball season. So either that or your TV set's a little blurry. You need to upgrade to a big screen HD TV.
I have been watching with rabbit ears. Maybe that's the problem. I tell you what, if you're out there at Thrive Nation and you're looking for an unbelievable read, a book that's going to help take your career, business, and personal life to the next level, pick up a copy of Jimmy Dykes' new book, The Jimmy Dykes, The Film Doesn't Lie, evaluating your life one play at a time. Again, The Film Doesn't Lie, evaluating your life one play at a time. And you get a look at Jimmy Dykes right there on the cover, a beautiful man. That's as a free bonus gift.
Yeah, you can also go to CoachJimmyDykes.com to order that book, and you'll see on that website, if you order it quickly, that we're giving away a free trip to this year's Final Four.
Get out of here.
And you don't even have to order the book. If you order the book, then your chances of winning are greatly increased. But it's a free trip to Atlanta for the Final Four. Some great experiences there with semifinal tickets and tickets to a Legends of the Hardwood breakfast on a Saturday morning and dinner or lunch with me. So it'd be worth going to that website, CoachJimmyDykes.com, and checking it out as well.
What am I doing? Thrive Nation, I'm leading you astray here. Go to CoachJimmyDykes.com, CoachJimmyDykes.com. This is awesome. This is a chance to read a great book, a chance to have an unbelievable March Madness experience. Forget what I just said. Do not go to Amazon. Go to CoachJimmyDykes.com. Sir, thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. It absolutely means the world to the listeners and to myself.
Yeah, you were tremendous for having me. Thank you very much.
Take care.
Okay.
And now, without any further ado, 3, 2, 1, boom!
Boom. Boom.